Thank you for being here and engaging. I was a professor at an elite liberal arts college just outside of Chicago called Wheaton. It also happens to be Christian, proudly touting its history as a stop on the Underground Railroad and the fact that it was the first institution of higher education in this state to admit and graduate a Black man. I was the first African-American woman in the history of this proud abolitionist university to earn tenure. Of course, that was before the 81%.
Very strong support from evangelical voters in this election. 81% of them voted for Donald Trump.
Very soon, that contingent in the public, unrelated to our own campus, had my proverbial head on a platter. I have to make my round. I should have gone that way. Hi, so good to see you. Look at your... It can be kind of depressing to be a professor of political science. I both love the news and I have this love-hate relationship with it at the same time. But it's what I do, and the pursuit of justice is the reason I started a peace and conflict studies program at Wheaton College. A large part of this class is the intersection of race, religion, gender, sexuality. I'm really interested in students learning that the purpose of government is to do justice in the public realm, and that that's also a scriptural commitment. God, through the prophet Isaiah, calls us to seek justice, correct oppression, plead for the widow and the orphan's cause.
Wheaton, for 150 plus years, has had a reputation for being at the forefront of evangelical life, Christian life. And there are two kinds of leaders, at least. One is a pioneering one who leads the way, and perhaps another one is an overseeing role. And Wheaton has, at least from the outside, been seen much more of an overseer, one who keeps the heritage of evangelicalism alive. He has names such as Billy Graham and many others.
Wheaton is affectionately known as the Harvard of the evangelical Christian world. It's the most visible and most well-respected evangelical Christian university. Evangelicalism, at one level, it's a theological term. It has to do with holding to a kind of a conservative Protestant orthodoxy, either identifying with the Reformation or certain post-Reformation movements, essentially a part of the Protestant community, or evangelicalism as emerging in the American scene out of fundamentalism during and after World War II. So there's a historical narrative there. It's a subculture. You know it when you're in it, and you know it when you're not in it.
Feliz cumpleaños a ti, feliz cumpleaños preciosa, feliz cumpleaños a ti.
Wheaton College has a statement of faith, and all of us as faculty members, including Larisha Hawkins, sign that statement of faith every year. It is a condition for employment. And at the same time, as an institution of higher education, we believe that we should have the space to be able to debate issues within that framework of both good scholarship and our statement of faith.
Alumni come very often back, not just for reunions, but they also send their children and their grandchildren, so it becomes more of a family affair. However, that also can be somewhat of a problem because it tends to not be as readily diverse.
No, there's not a lot of diversity on Wheaton's campus. As an Asian American, we enjoy what some would call being the model minority. We usually don't feel the same pressure that African American Hispanic students do in a largely white population of students.
quite often the lore of the aura of Wheaton creates problems for us because people expect us to be something, perhaps something anchored in the 1960s or 70s or even 80s. We're not in the 1960s and 70s and 80s. Questions have moved. People, ideas have moved. Orthodoxy hasn't, but expressions of theology have.